Hello Mother Funsters, it's Mellar the Floating Head here. Welcome to this video, which is a creative build of a barn, because I didn't want to do it on stream like I did last time, because the build is going to be almost exactly the same as the one we did last time. So I did it sped up for your viewing pleasure. Enjoy. Okay, so we're looking for a place to put our barn. Sorry for the audio in the first few moments of this video. It does fix itself quite quickly. And there's a big hole here that we need to fill in. There we go, there's the audio nice and fixed for you. We're just going to fill in this big hole so we've got a nice flat surface for our barn. There we go. Just fill in some holes. Make the area larger. We're going to want to make quite a large barn for all of the machines and the sorting system that we want to make. I think that's about right. Maybe just a little bit more. So now we're going to need some wood. We're going for birch wood. We're going to make the barn outside of logs and the inner part out of the planks. But first we need to map out the size and shape. Now, the base is going to be pretty boring. It's going to be rectangular. And what we're trying to do is we're just counting the number of blocks so that we can make the thing as symmetrical as possible and not so much on the wonk like our previous build was on the previous server. I'm trying very hard here to count the blocks, but there you go, I haven't quite made that one right. So I'm just going to make the area a little bit bigger so it's not backing straight onto a hill. And then there we go, I'm still out. So I'm just going to recalculate again. I had quite a lot of issues with this particular wall, as you can see. I mean, problem with this is it requires brain power, which is something I don't have very much of. There we go, I seem to have come to a decision. So I think there we go, we've got our rough outline. I wasn't 100% happy with that because I wanted the door to be central. And in order to make the door central, I needed to amend the walls. But first we're just getting rid of the floor, because we want this to be ground level, not the next one up, otherwise you'll have to step up to get into the barn, which won't be ideal. Especially on this server, you don't have the auto jump up to one level like we did on the previous server. It's only a little thing, but it's definitely worth making the ground the same level as everything else. So here we go. We're putting in the sort of the base now, like the frame, I would say. Make it day. Here we go. So this is a sort of base. This is here where I start mapping out for where the door is going to go. I'm coming to realise here that there is no middle. If I want to make it 3 wide, I can only make it 1 wide. And that's just not cricket in a barn. If it's a house, fair enough, you can have a door that's 1 wide, but in a barn you need to have a nice big door. So a door of 1 wide is just not going to do. So now I'm trying to fix that issue. But it takes me some time to get my head around it. I actually went the wrong way here. I made it smaller when I was supposed to make it bigger. So you can kind of see me still figuring out that no, it's still not the right size. Needed to make it 1 bigger rather than 1 smaller. So there we go. I'm doing that. It's just making sure that it is right before I get rid of the old wall. And there we go. This is where our door is going to go. Just build up the frame of the barn. And there you go. That's the front. Side. And then I made a bit of an error there. I forgot that I didn't have the wall to land on. But there we go. There's the frame. And we're going to put this through the centre. Just to make it look a little bit more real. There we go. There's the sort of frame already. So now we need to start putting in the walls and the floor and such. We may put some detail in later. But for now, we're just going to put in some plain walls. Made of the birch wood that we've been using. So at the moment we've only used birch wood. We've used birch wood logs for the frame, and we're using birch wood planks for the walls and the floor. We will use some oak for the roof a little bit later. And now we're just filling it all in. Making it day. There we go. Filling in the wall. Oops. The floor is done. This is the last wall. There we go, the walls are done, so now we need to focus on the roof. So we're putting this here partially for aesthetics, but also to try and get our head around this, where the centre is in the build and so on. So this is the oak wood that we're making the roof out of, and then we're just using the dirt as scaffolding. And have a little, just 1 square of overhang there. It looks a bit odd if you don't put overhang. It looks really fake. So we're putting 1 square of overhang. You can put more. We did on our previous build. I think we had 2 squares of overhang on a previous build. But it did look a little bit bloated, I felt. Looked good, but a bit bloated. So there we go. And we're just gonna... There we go. You can quite clearly see what kind of look we're going for. We're going for a peaked roof made out of oak. We're just going to get rid of some of this dirt scaffolding that we've put in. We don't need it anymore. And we're just going to start on the other side now as well. And there you go, there's the 1 little overhang as well. Very important. Seems like such a small little thing, but honestly it looks so weird if you don't put that overhang in. Get rid of some of that. You know, it's just for that little bit. I decided to put the scaffolding on the outside rather than on the inside, just to see what it looked like. it looks shit. But it doesn't matter because it's only scaffolding, you get rid of it before the build is over. I think when we did the live build of a very similar barn on the previous server, I think really it was the roof that took the longest time. Yeah, that won't do. Luckily we have server commands that can turn off the rain. I wish you could do that in real life. We're starting to get to the peak of the roof. There we go, and we'll just put one more level on that. We will deal with the scaffolding later, but in the meantime we're going to put some steps down to make the roof look a little bit nicer. It does make it look a lot nicer. And when I got to the bottom of the roof, I wasn't initially sure how I was going to do it, because on the previous build we made about 3 block overhang, quite a large overhang that went down, and I didn't really want to do that on this build. I wanted to do something a little bit different to last time. Also, frankly, I couldn't be bothered to do another 6 levels, so I just put a pretty simple little sort of skirt of 1 extra block there, and that's what I went with in the end. That's me just double checking to see if I felt it looked good, and I went through, and there we go. I've decided on that. I think that looks good enough for sure. I think the overhang looks slightly better, but like I said, I didn't want to make it look exactly the same as the previous build, and also I couldn't be asked to do a whole 6 more levels of this. So this looks absolutely fine. I think it looks a little bit more sensible. There you go. That looks absolutely fine. Now this is me thinking that it looks a little bit off, and then yeah, realizing that something is wrong, and then realizing that the thing that is wrong is I've actually put that top beam in wrong, and then me just fixing it there and double checking that it's central, which it now is. So we'll get rid of the scaffolding. And there we have it, 1 completed roof. Build is nearly over now. We're not far away from finishing. We're going to put in the walls here. We're going back to the birch wood. And I'm just realising, of course, that there are some monsters starting to spawn inside the barn. It doesn't really bother us for the build, but we're going to want them gone by the time we actually go live. And, you know, turn off creative mode. So I'm putting in some torches. And then I decide that, like the previous build, we should have a window in here. I'm just deciding on the size of the window now, thinking that looks a little bit off. So I make it 1 bigger widthways and 1 bigger heightways, and there I am happy with that. Just filling the rest in. No need for glass. It's a barn. Doesn't need to be warm. We don't need to keep the heat in. And that I just did put that beam in there just to make absolutely damn sure that the 2 windows lined up with each other perfectly. The last thing I want is what I got last time. It was a wonky barn. And just filling in the last of the gaps. So we've done the outside of the barn. Now we just need to give some detail to the inside. There we go, there's the outside. I was considering then whether to put another level of wood at the very peak of the roof. I decided on that slight flatness. I actually quite liked that slight flatness. Now notice here that the barn is actually slightly larger than the previous build, slightly wider. So we're actually getting rid of a couple of blocks there. It only needs to be 4 wide really, otherwise it's just a bit too much space. I'll put some torches here because I'm not going to be able to reach this middle beam once creative mode is turned off. Because there's not going to be a way up there onto that middle beam, it's only aesthetic. Although I'm actually not sure now, looking back on it, whether the torches are a good idea. Maybe some other form of light might be nice. But either way, this will be fine for now. Whoops. Whoops. Just ignoring the mobs. They can't get me, I'm in creative. And go putting some ladders in. Decided on a way in on both sides this time. And there we go, there's our completed build, 1 barn. So that's the end of the build. I hope you enjoyed it. Do like and subscribe on YouTube, and you can also catch me live in this world on twitch.tv/Mellar21. All the best. See you on stream.